cigar break, range break. Let's talk about how you ladies will screw your lives up. Well, hopefully not. Maybe you'll listen to this video and you won't. I don't know. We'll see. The most common way, though, that I can see how women screw their lives up, and don't worry, guys screw their lives up too. Everyone does, and then we have to recover from it. But it'd be nice to not screw your life up, right? It'd be nice to not do that. So maybe you could, take some good advice here and see if you could set yourself up for success. But I coach a lot of people, males and females, and a big thing that I see is women will get into relationships and marriages, long-term commitments with guys who are not their best. Okay? What I mean by their best, I don't mean the guy that makes the most amount of money, or the guy that's the nicest to them, or the guy that even cares about them the most. I mean the guy who they are the most aroused and attracted by. That's what I mean. So what happens is there's different types of love, first of all, and there's different needs, primal needs, that you're trying to get met when you're picking a mate. Those needs fall under 5 categories. I've made this point in other videos. Those needs are sexual needs, love needs, security needs, paternity needs, meaning is he going to be a good dad or a nurturing type, and legacy needs. Will he have the loyalty to stick with you as you grow together? So those are the kind of the 5 needs that you vet a mate with. Well, what often happens is you see somebody, and it's someone that you are highly aroused, highly attracted to. Now, what is that arousal and attraction? That's a chemistry. That is your genetic makeup and their genetic makeup fitting very well together. Now, you'll be attracted to other people. You'll have good experiences, both sexual and otherwise, with other people. But it won't match. It's hard to match that person that you have a high level of attraction to. Now, that person that you're highly attracted and aroused by is also usually somebody that you can't control. And it's usually somebody who, might be, it might put you in different emotional states that are a little bit uncomfortable. So can lead to troublesome relationships sometimes if you don't know how to handle and get through that stuff. There could be a number of reasons, but what ends up happening is they end up leaving, or that guy breaks up with them, or the relationship doesn't work out, and it doesn't, it's someone who is their sexual best, someone who is they're the most aroused and attracted by. Well, here's the problem with that. And so then, because of loneliness and because of goals like children and because of all other things, they end up in other relationships, and they end up settling with a guy that they don't have the same level of arousal and attraction that they had for that bad boy, or they had that guy that they couldn't control. All right? Well, here's the problem with that. Okay? The problem with that is this. There's a little thing called hypergamy. It's how you ladies have been able to help our species survive, which is that you're constantly leveling up and looking for the best option for yourself. Things like paternity, guys can learn how to be a better dad. Guys will create more security as they learn more things, get better as they age, and collect more resources. Loyalty kind of just has to be there, but if there's any barriers like anxiety or attachment issues that might cause a loyalty issue, those can be overcome too. There's lots of things that can be overcome, but that raw attraction and arousal that is your genetic chemical makeup as well as their genetic chemical makeup coming together for a very impacting sexual and emotional attraction, that romantic love, that high level of romantic love, that's something you can't negotiate. That is something that is created and biology already takes care of for you. If you believe in a higher power, you can say that's the way God made you and God made them. And so I'm not to say that there's only one person out there for you, but what ends up happening is it's very hard to find a person where you have that high level of arousal and attraction with. It's much easier to find dudes who will think you're pretty, and who will want to marry you, and who will dedicate themselves to you, and who will buy you stuff, and you know what I mean? There's guys out there, plenty of dudes out there who will, will actually be good to you and do all that stuff, but and you probably can just check your inbox and see all those guys in there. You know what I mean? And but those guys might not be the person that you're highly aroused and attracted by. And in a pinch and in loneliness, or with your inability and maybe his inability to work out a previous relationship, you just end up settling. You end up settling for a guy that fits all of the qualities on paper, looks great on paper, is a good person, but you're just not that highly aroused and attracted by him. And what ends up happening inevitably is once the milestones are over, you do the wedding, you do the planning, you do the first house, you do the kids, you do all the distractions. When you're left with that person and you don't have any more distractions, you realize that you're just not that much in love with them. And that happens all the time. All the time. And it's a 7 to 10 year process, and then divorce happens. 75% of you ladies are initiating divorce 7 to 10 years in. And it's because you settled with somebody that you just weren't that excited about being with. And that is how probably a number one reason you guys screw up your lives, your romantic lives. Because once you settle in, and especially if you do a 7 to 10 year marriage, at 35, 40, 45 years old, whatever it may be, anytime after, your late 20s, to be honest with you, it gets harder and harder to find that guy that's going to be that good match for you. So heed my advice. Don't settle. If you don't have that high level of arousal and attraction for a person, if they're not your best in that sexual emotional draw category, if you're not sexually and emotionally aroused by them at a high level relatively early on, don't put yourself in a position where you screw yourself and you screw him too on top of it. This poor guy is putting all this into you that you're not that excited about, and you end up settling with that. That's a recipe for a lot of unhappiness, and probably a big factor for why a lot of women are unhappy and why a lot of divorces happen. So, little PSA, not to say that you want to listen to a cigar smoking, weightlifting guy who's at a shooting range right now, but maybe you should. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Take care. Watch this again. Go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe. I got lots of information for both you ladies as well as you men. Thanks again. Take care.